Our relationship with the ocean is complex. It's either our happy place or our greatest fear, or both. But long before us, cultures who had to live off the ocean learnt to worship the very things we fear. A perfect example of this is the islands of Hawaii. In Hawaii, it is believed that a departed ancestor or family member can take the form of an animal. One of these animals is the shark. They are known as aumakua. There are several stories recounting aumakua manifesting in animal form, even saving the lives of their human descendants, or showing up in times of need. Despite this rich culture, Hawaiians have turned their back on these animals in the past, when more than 4,500 sharks were killed in a Hawaiian culling program that started in 1959. So when culture versus fear, who wins? I found two born and raised Hawaiians who have interacted with sharks on a number of occasions to ask them, does the cultural significance of these animals matter even today, after we as a species have waged war on them? Can they still mean a lot to a culture or a person after taking a leg or a life? Does the culture of respect for sharks still exist?
Aloha, my name is Justin Lee. I'm from the beautiful Honoka'a, small historic town on the Hamakua coast. Been spearfishing for a very, very long time, and always run into tiger sharks. Not always, but when I run into them, it's always a cool little adventure. When it comes to sharks, it's always that, oh, especially a big tiger. You're like, and that first bit of, what the hell am I gonna do, gets trumped with respect, and you just end up watching them, and you really see how beautiful and how cool they are. Like you said, the aumakua. So aumakua for the Hawaiians is a spiritual creature, that kind of is their guardian angel, whether it be a shark or pueo or, the owl or the i'o, the hawk. Some people get, the mo'o, the gecko. Those aren't the cool people. If you get the shark as your aumakua, you're stoked. But no, it's, ever since forever, sharks are a big part of the Hawaiian culture. Cool to see that, yes, it's a threat. Yes, they've killed people. Yes, there's always that danger. But there's also that respect that the local people of Hawaii have towards, not just the tiger shark, but all sharks in general, and just all wildlife, basically. That, if they see someone mistreating it, that's a big no-no. Lots of good friends of mine fish for ulua, or the giant trevally out here. And it's a nighttime fishing. They slide down big baits to trying to get the biggest fish possible. And of course, they're gonna catch sharks. But nobody kills the sharks. They bring it in, they're like, oh, shark, cut it loose. I don't know if it's more of they don't want the bad luck karma to follow them the next time, or what it is. But I think it stems down to that respect on, I'm not gonna eat it. Why am I gonna kill it? When we spearfish, sharks means there's fish around. If you've got a steady supply of predators, and a steady supply of food that we're after, the sharks are gonna be there as well. And that's just part of the game. I heard stories that my aumakua is the shark. Like my great-great-grandfather had a birthmark that was the shape of a shark on his side. And my cousin, she got a tattoo as signifies that birthmark and that touch of the shark. But my older brother said he was out in Waipio one day, and before he jumped in the water, he just had a weird little vibe. And he's just all like, ooh. And he said he remembers, for some reason, Grandpa Lee flashed through his head. And as he was jumping in the water, he started paddling, and he said he just felt like this, like Grandpa Lee was there with him. And, he just kind of felt warm, and not even 5 seconds in the water, he got bumped by a shark. A shark actually came underneath his board and knocked him off his board. And the leash wrapped around the dorsal fin of the shark, and he was getting pulled backwards. And the water in Waipio on its days can be crystal clear. And he looked underwater, and all he saw was this huge shark. And for a split second, he thought he had his leg in his mouth, you know, so he freaked out, but then he slipped off, and he looked around and the shark was gone, and he paddled back in. And you know, he's all like, he's all like, you know, you tell yourself, don't panic, stay calm. He's all like, all that goes out the door. That gets thrown away as soon as he got knocked from underneath him, it got thrown away. But he's all like, you know, it was the weirdest thing, because he's like, you know, I think of Grandpa every now and then, but I never, you know, for it to have such a vivid picture come through his thought and process before he jumped in the water, and then that to happen, he's all like, you know, we call them the tax collector, because if you catch too much, you know, if you go out to an area and you catch too many fish, you know, or the ocean believes you catch too many fish, the tax man shows up and takes his taxes back, you know. And I think, you know, it's kind of funny, because like the times I see the most sharks are, you know, when people ask me, oh, can you get some fish for a party, you know, and I spill more than I normally do, and sure enough, you're gonna see the man in the gray suit, and you're gonna have to pay your taxes.
My name is Mike Coots. I was born and raised on the island of Kauai, a small little island here in Hawaii. I was 18, little surfhead rat on Kauai, and had dreams of being a professional bodyboarder. I was with a coach and a bunch of friends early one morning. It was late October. And as I made that initial paddle to try and catch the wave, pretty much as my fingertips broke the surface of the water, a large tiger shark came up from underneath me, grabbed onto my legs, started ragdolling me back and forth. I stuck my right hand in its mouth to try to get my legs out, and it wasn't having it. It sort of clamped down even harder. I remember sort of this jaw like readjusting, and it became a fight or flight moment, and I took my left hand and I punched it in the nose, I think 3 times or so, and it let go. And I didn't feel any pain or anything like that. It felt like 5 huge Hawaiians were sitting on my leg, like the most immense pressure, crazy amount of pressure. So sharks are definitely pretty woven into the history of Hawaii and its people. There's a lot of oral stories about sharks. You know, everything from helping fishermen catch fish, to we'd have makahiki games where you would take a small tiger shark and basically grow it in a fish pond until it gets to a bigger mature size, and then it's whoever could ride the shark the longest. And in a way, it's a really good thing here in Hawaii as we have a lot of shark attacks and the issue of culling comes up. In the last 20 years or so, there's been a big sort of revival of people being proud of their Hawaiian history and their heritage, and I think as that gets more and more and more, and if issues of culling come up, that'll just really sort of, I guess, battle that culling issue. The very first time I dove with sharks, it wasn't tiger sharks or great whites, they were small sandbar sharks, and I won't lie, I was a little nervous, but getting in the water was really clear, and it was another defining moment. It was one of those things, wow, this is amazingly beautiful. I remember coming after that dive, and prior to the dive, I was like really tense and nervous, and it felt like, I don't do yoga, but I can imagine that's what yoga feels like, when your body is so calm and relaxed, and the sharks actually like bring your level of just your entire being down to this other state, I guess maybe because they have such dominance. And then I've been fortunate to go to other places in the world where there are hot spots with great whites and tiger sharks, and each of those first times with the sharks felt like my first time diving with sharks, and its fear, you know, and it's really beautiful. And I remember, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, it wasn't scary, and I learned a lot, and it was beautiful, and I want to do it again. I love sharks. Yeah, sharks. I love everything about them. I love reading about the biology of sharks, why sharks do what they do. The little bit that's known about it, I think, is absolutely fascinating.